Now, we all saw the oil price crash that took place yesterday and the tremendous shakeup of the market that is. And in fact, it was Canadian oil had reached negative 15 cents per barrel. That's right. Essentially, theoretically, they would be paying you to take the oil off of their hands because they would be losing money at this point. Now, in the United States, particularly New York, the price of a barrel of oil fell to about $3. Oil costs about as much as 2 liters of Coke. Think about that. Coke, depending on the store that you go to, would cost more than a barrel of oil, which means that the barrel itself would be more expensive than the oil in it. And there's a lot of comparisons that we can make about that. But we do need to talk about what's very significant about this. Obviously, there was a glut in the global oil supply because transportation has significantly reduced as a result of the COVID-19 outbreak. People aren't traveling, planes that normally run aren't running, etc. This drop in price is very obviously just the natural reaction of the market. I mean, there's no manipulation here. This is just straight up what the free market would do in this kind of situation, which actually, in the end, shows the irrationality of it to begin with, and that it is inherently self-destructive, at least in this way. I mean, you can make the overall argument that capitalism is self-destructive. I don't think I need to make that argument to you, my audience. But in this aspect, it is very clearly being self-destructive. Now, this is important because oil is attached to everything in the world. That's why we have the petrodollar, etc. Everything, no matter what is being produced, has to be transported. And every form of transportation uses oil. There's only a few tiny exceptions. Other than that, oil is everything. If everything in the world has to move by, then everything in the world is dependent on it. And, we can go into how this is part of the constant capital of pricing inputs for production, etc. But that would be well beyond the scope of this video, and I'm sure Professor Paul Cockshott has a video on that, which would be better than anything I could produce anyway. So what's important here is to understand this and point out the sudden drop, the irrationality in that market to people who otherwise would like to deny it. Of course, eventually the oil price is going to stabilize and come back to a level that would be a relative equilibrium in the supply and demand, which that entails another criticism altogether, but that's also beyond the scope of this video, and that's also something that actually I do know that Paul Cockshott has on that's better than anything I could produce. Anyway, so it's important to point out how significant this drop in oil price is and how many countries around the world are tremendously dependent upon it. And it's not just that these countries are dependent on it. The entire global infrastructure is dependent on it. And that's something that's also significant that should be held into account. And that's why this oil price drop is very significant. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.